Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Welcome to Accelerated Health Radio and TV. I'm your host, Sara Banta. I'm a health coach, natural supplement expert, and a busy mom of 3 teenagers. I believe your body does want to and is capable of rebuilding and healing itself, regardless of what chronic disease you may have. And I'm here for you to answer your questions, bring you innovative and cutting-edge technology and health solutions to empower you and your ability to reach your optimal state of health. Today, my guest will be talking about heart coherence and anxiety. And if your physical body is functioning at a low level, it is going to have a hard time having the energy mentally to fight anxiety and raise your frequency or vibration or heal yourself, whether it's overcoming anxiety and depression, losing weight, or detoxing your body in the proper way, and even increasing your level of frequency in life. You need a strong physical foundation of health in order to gain the willpower to make the bigger changes in life. If you're new to following me, I specialize in helping you get there. You can find my health articles, my cutting-edge natural supplements, devices, and protocols at sarabantahealth.com. Accelerated Health Products is my company, joined under sarabantahealth.com, and it's the sponsor of this show. So as you support my website, I'm able to bring you more cutting edge content and guests to the show. First, I wanted to talk about some tools you can use to help with your mental health, physical health, and live your best life. The goal is to improve mitochondrial health and increase energy at the cellular level. So the neurons are firing, leading to a reverse aging in body, mind, and spirit. First, the accelerated silver. This is the supplement that started my business because of my son's fight with leukemia at the age of 9. Accelerated scalar silver is enhancing your immune system's ability to devitalize foreign pathogens, including viruses, bacteria, fungus, and parasites. And if your immune system is bombarded with fighting foreign pathogens, it can't simultaneously engage in those anti-aging mechanisms or autoimmune issues. By keeping your immune system strong, the body engages in anti-inflammatory processes, leading to optimal health. And it's enhanced with scalar frequencies to increase its efficacy. No other silver solution has this. Next is the accelerated keto. This is unlike any other ketone supplement out there. It flips you into fat burning mode within 30 minutes, and your body taps into its own fat stores for energy right away. What does this mean? This means that you feel great physically and mentally right away, and you have this feeling like, I can finally do this. Whatever it is that you're trying to do, whether it's a diet, sticking to a detox program, or just working more efficiently in your job, or going and working out for the first time, you feel like you finally can do this. When the body is running on ketones produced by the accelerated keto, combined with intermittent fasting and a low-carb diet, prioritizing the proper wild proteins instead of utilizing glucose for energy, ATP production increases significantly. And what does this mean? This means that mitochondria increases and mitochondrial biogenesis is optimized, and your brain's on fire, your body's on fire. Furthermore, the additional ingredients in accelerated keto that no other supplement has breaks down saturated fats into unsaturated fats. And these unsaturated fats are easier for the body to utilize and easier for the body to convert to ketones. So when you're fasting, the body fat is more readily available to burn for energy, which increases ketones and autophagy mechanisms further. That autophagy means that there's Pac-Man going through your body, cleaning up all the debris and the oxidative stress and the junk we just don't need. Because of this property, accelerated keto is able to defat the liver as well. And if you know me, you know I love my liver and I love liver flushes. But what's great about the accelerated keto is even on its own, you are starting to clean out your liver. You're starting to convert that stored fat into ketones. You're starting to defat that liver, unclog it, and it's easier for the liver to function in all areas and increase mitochondrial biogenesis. And the liver is also where thyroid hormones convert from T4 to T3, and that will increase your metabolism. So as the liver's functioning better, the thyroid works better, metabolism goes up, mitochondrial functions better, your brain feels better, your body feels better, your energy is up. And there's also other ingredients in there that prevents muscle wasting, sparks a digestive fire, and helps increase the whole fire burning in your system in general. With that is accelerated iodine. And I harp on everybody that 96% of the United States alone is deficient in iodine. And iodine is not just for your thyroid, but iodine is needed for every one of your 100 trillion cells in the body. It is the number one reason for mitochondrial failure is iodine deficiency. Thyroid hormones must attach to the mitochondria as well as the nucleus of the cell, and they all have thyroid hormone receptor sites. So iodine is needed, not just for those who have hypothyroidism, but most people do have that. And today we're going to be talking about anxiety and a little bit of depression. Did you know the number one predictor of depression is a lack of iodine? So there you go. And iodine helps with increasing IQ, and it helps reduce risks of disease and helps with apoptosis, which is the programmed dying of diseased cells, the cells that we want to get rid of. Intracellular iodine produces energy. Extracellular iodine outside the cells, it is antioxidant, it's an anti-allergenic, it detoxifies, it's vasodilating, it's autoimmune suppressing, and it, like I mentioned, it's the natural death of cells. And it also is needed to increase ATP by 18 times that of a normal cell. So your energy truly goes up. In addition to the accelerated iodine, you've got the accelerated ancient salt. Both of these are enhanced with scalar frequencies, just like the silver. That salt is not just like any other salt. It has over 62 minerals in it, and you need emulsifying salt and minerals not only to stimulate digestion, but to hydrate the cells when you're fasting. This is not like any other salt. It has a negative charge to pull out the positive charge, toxins, parasites, and undigested salts. And like I mentioned, it's scalar charge to further enhance the frequency, and it actually reorganizes your DNA. It also helps with nausea, digesting those fats, rehydration at the cellular level, and detoxing from radiation and heavy metals. Next, we're going to talk about some stem cell patches that you can wear that literally trigger your own body to produce its stem cells. The first one I want to talk about is the Eon patch. And why am I talking about this one today is because we're talking about anxiety and stress and depression. Eon is an anti-inflammatory, anti-stress, happy patch. It raises a peptide that is known to be used as an alternative to cancer treatments. But not only that, it helps with brain balancing, calming, and reducing cortisol levels. It elevates DHEA. It balances out our autonomic nervous system, our heart rate, blood pressure, digestion, and respiration. It literally triggers your body to go from the sympathetic mode to the parasympathetic mode, and that's the relax mode, the relax and digest mode. So I wear this every day, and I sometimes wear it at night to help me sleep. Sometimes I wear it during the day to help with my stress level, and it really, really helps. In addition to the Eon patch, there's the energy enhancer patch, and this increases ATP production in the mitochondria, increases heart rate variability, which we're going to talk about today, improves the bioelectrical measurement or the phase angle or the integrity of the cell walls. And as we get old, our cell walls get more rigid and our nutrients can't get into the cells and our toxins can't get out. So with this patch, you are helping the cell walls let the toxins out and the nutrients in. It also increases beta oxidation, which is the fastest way to increase cellular energy. And plus, it's increasing fat burning and muscle growth. When you add that in with the acceleridine and the accelerated keto, your fat burning goes through the roof and ATP production increases significantly. Additionally, you can use the X39 patch, which actually turns on over 4,000 genes to enhance their stem cell production and reverse their aging. As a result, it helps repair collagen in all the tissues, activates stem cells production, encourages apoptosis of cancer cells, reduces inflammation throughout the body. And then the X49 is helping with muscle density, fat burning, hair growth, bone mass and bone density, and so many of the outside things that we're worried about. So they are amazing to add to your protocols. I give more tips and tools through my free group coaching. You can join with the link below on Telegram or email me through the website, SaraBantaHealth.com. The difference between me and any other group coaching is I provide the most cutting edge frequency enhanced supplements that work synergistically with each other, and your body doesn't experience those flu-like symptoms. You truly feel great day one. Leave a comment below if you're interested, or check it out on the website, SaraBantaHealth.com. Now to the good stuff. Dr. Mark Halpern is a chiropractor, author, lecturer, and certified HeartMath practitioner who is also certified in additional healing modalities. In both his personal and professional life, Mark has been drawn to methods that promote optimal health and healing of the brain, body, and spirit. We have a great story, and I want to let him tell us the story of where he is now and how he got into the coherence revolution, which is the topic of today. Welcome, Mark. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Mark, I could go on in your introduction and tell everybody about it, but I wanted to give you the opportunity to do so. You're a chiropractor, but you've had an interesting history, and please let us know what has happened and where are you today?
Yeah, well, I am a chiropractor. I'm in Toronto, Canada. And my story was really, I started writing the book and everything back when the pandemic started, because my history was really as an anxious child. I grew up, I think I was a fairly happy child, but by the time I reached my teens, all of that sort of teen angst, it really did a number on me. And I created a lot of neurological patterns and just bad habits of thinking and mind racing. And I started experiencing, I guess, what I would call anxiety from an early age, probably 14, 15 years of age. And then it really just got worse through my teen years and in my 20s and so forth. And so I guess my goal as being who I am, someone in the health field, but also someone who's sort of an A personality, I wanted to approach anxiety from every angle, every Eastern-based, Western-based approach. And my search started when I was about 18 or 19 years of age. I took my parents to a lecture about anxiety when I was, I think, 18 or 19. And then from there, I tried, I'm going to say, everything from energy work and psychotherapy to medications and hypnosis, different breathwork techniques, different types of meditation, homeopaths, naturopaths, shamans. I mean, you name it, I tried it. And I was really open to anything, courses, books, and there was some things that helped me and some things that didn't, and some things I got a little bit of benefit and some things got zero out of. And so my journey kind of went on. And I would say over the last 5 or 6 years, I had just been introduced to so many different things over the years that I finally put it all together. One of them was doing work with HeartMath and someone named Dr. Joe Dispenza, who leads meditations, and he does a lot of research on the brain and heart coherence and all the stuff that now I'm into. And so I started getting into this, and I still hadn't really put it all together into one sort of cohesive format. But when the pandemic hit, I literally was undergoing a renovation in my chiropractic clinic. And the day that the day that we were told to go home was the day that the renovation was done. So literally we came to the office, and then the building manager said, yeah, sorry, we have to close because of the pandemic. So I went home, and most of my friends and family were freaking out about all of this change and what does it mean for people. And I just decided that I was not going to let this be a train wreck for myself, because I knew if I just sat around every day thinking what's going to happen, my anxiety triggers would just start in earnest. So I started writing, and literally I didn't even know where it was going to take me, but I went through every book, every course, every therapist, every note that I'd ever taken, every book that I had like folded a page over to save for later. I went through all of it, and I basically figured out what worked for me, what didn't work for me. And so it all became part of the book. I wrote my story, then I wrote all the things that worked and didn't work. And then I kind of got into how to put it all together and design your own process and do the self-inquiry, which is really what the missing piece is. Most people know somewhat what to do or different options, but they've never really taken the time to do the self-inquiry to find out what can help them and to create a plan for themselves. And so I determined that with my course, I was going to teach breath work, which is HeartMath, which I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about. And it's a really powerful self-regulation breathwork technique, meaning it helps you regulate your emotions. It helps you choose your emotional state. And so it's just a powerful way of breathing, and it's a powerful tool to use if you're anxious or stressed, or you're not feeling resilient, or you're in pain, or you can't sleep. All of these things can be helped using your breath and through what's called HRV, or heart rate variability. So I teach that now in the course, but I've also added all of these other, I guess, aspects of our life to help us reach this coherent state, meaning our senses, sound, sight, digestion, our touch. All of these things can help put us in this coherent state. And if I'm going to talk about coherence, I might as well explain, at least to me, what coherence is. Coherence is really the most resilient, connected state you can be in. Athletes will talk about being in the zone. And when they're in the zone, they're in a coherent state. Basically, their heart rhythm, their brain rhythm, all of their rhythms in their body are functioning together. They're purring and going in the right direction. However, most people are not coherent on a daily basis. We're stressed out on a daily basis. We're not thinking right. We're not making good decisions. And so getting into a coherent state is a very resilient, uplifting, renewing state. And so we can use our breath, or we can use any number of the things that I discuss in the book.
It's really interesting as you're talking. Number one, kudos to you for figuring out and going after your anxiety issues back in the day when anxiety really wasn't talked about. I mean, today I feel like everyone says I have anxiety. Everybody does, and everybody does. But you were at an age, you were taking your parents to these things instead of your parents taking you to these things. So amazing that you were smart enough to identify it and then wanting to deal with it. So that's truly amazing. I want to, and then as you were talking about coherence, something that I do every morning and I talk to my clients about is having a morning routine. I like working out in the morning. It gets me in that zone. It shuts the outside world off, and it gets me into that state of coherence of what you're talking about. And I want to get more into that in a minute. But right now, why don't we talk about why do so many people suffer from anxiety?
It's a good question. And, the fight or flight response, which is really what happens, our body goes into panic or anxiety. The fact is, it's a primitive response that was designed to help us out of dangerous situations, so that thousands of years ago, if a bear is chasing you in the woods and you need to get away from the bear, you need to make sure that your heart rate increases. You need to make sure that all the blood flow from your digestive system, your urinary tract, your immune system, all of the blood flow and energy goes towards your muscles so that you can run away from the bear. Now, theoretically, when you got into the cave, it should calm down very, very quickly. In fact, there's a book called Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. And it talks all about the fact that zebras fight or flight, it turns off like this, and it's why they don't get stressed out. But now, thousands of years later, our fight or flight response is being triggered not by a bear chasing us necessarily. It could be by our boss yelling at us, by getting into a fight with a friend, by having emotional issues at work or with relationships. And the idea is we're always in this fight or flight. And not only that, I talk about in the book, it can almost become addictive. In other words, your brain starts producing thoughts. Those thoughts produce chemicals. The chemicals, the stress chemicals, end up producing anxiety, whether that's adrenaline, noradrenaline, cortisol, all of the stress hormones. And now all of a sudden you get this rush when you're anxious. And so your body gets used to producing the thoughts that produce the chemicals and then produce that emotional response. And over time and with repetition, essentially we practice anxiety. We don't realize it, but we're practicing it day after day after day, the same patterns, the same thoughts. And our body gets really, really good at producing the chemicals of stress. And so good that sometimes the body craves that chemical of stress, and it's going to look for things to worry about. And so I'm sure most of your audience can relate to the fact that they might feel like they've got this huge problem. They're anxious about it. They do everything in their power to get rid of it. And as soon as it's gone, their brain finds something else to worry about because it's a habit. It's a neurological pattern that the brain is always searching how to protect you, how to save you. And it's looking for danger in your environment. And so the idea is we have to break that pattern. We have to create new neurological patterns and set a new neurological state so that we're not always getting used to practicing anxiety. So I talk about in my course, practicing the emotions of your future, practicing the emotions of your dream life, because the more you practice the emotions you want to feel, the more familiar they become to you, the more your body gets used to producing the happy chemicals, like the endorphins and the serotonins and the happy chemicals that we have in our body, oxytocin and so forth. And so now we get used to producing those. And so really it's this habit forming worry that we engage in. And that's what I've dealt with my whole life. And so by able to dive into this work, it's been able to start training me to start having a new set point rather than automatically waking up in the morning and that set point is automatically for stress.
I was talking to a client the other day and they admitted that they go to bed worried if they were going to wake up feeling good or bad. And I said,
Right.
Well, that's interesting. I go to bed knowing that tomorrow's going to be an awesome day.
Right.
And it's just the way that you set it up in your brain and the way you train your brain to, you have to be proactive in changing those thoughts. And Joe Dispenza talks about how 97% of your thoughts are the same as they were yesterday unless you change them. So can you talk a little bit more about what is HeartMath? And you mentioned heart rate variability. I wear an Oura ring, and so I know what my heart rate variability is at night, every night. And I know the bigger the number, the better, but maybe you can explain a little bit more about HeartMath.
So HeartMath is a company that did a lot of the research on the connection between the brain and the heart. Most people probably wouldn't believe it, but there is a lot more information that goes from the heart to the brain than from the brain to the heart. And the heart's rhythm is about 40 times stronger than the brain's electrically and about 100 times stronger magnetically than the brain. And so the heart's rhythm can start to entrain or take over the other rhythms of the body, like the brain rhythm. Because just like in the ocean, the biggest wave will take over the smaller waves, and that's called entrainment. And so this state of heart coherence, HeartMath, what they did is they designed technology to help measure your heart rate variability and how your heart rhythm is functioning. And then you can use that technology to start getting into a physiological coherent state, using your breath, using emotion, and using visualization. But heart rate variability is the difference between when you breathe in, your heart rate goes up. When you breathe out, your heart rate goes down. And so the reason that your heart rate goes up is due to your sympathetic system, so your stress system, and the reason your heart rate goes down is due to your parasympathetic system, your digest and relax system. And so when you breathe in, heart rate goes up. When you breathe out, your heart rate goes down. The difference is called your heart rate variability. So if I breathe in and my heart rate goes up to 90 beats a minute, and then I breathe out and it goes down to 70 beats a minute, 90 minus 70 is 20. I would have a 20 heart rate variability. Now, most people who are chest breathers, we don't breathe properly. Most people are heavers. We just breathe really shallow through our chest, and our heart rate variability is between 2 and 5. That in and of itself can create a stress response. So I can check someone's breathing pattern and really know if they're a stressed out person or they're not, literally just looking at the way they're breathing. Because if you're a chest breather that's doing these shallow breaths, chances are you are in the middle of feeling some type of stress or anxiety. And so what HeartMath has shown is you can start to change your heart rate variability. You can train yourself to elongate your breath, to change the rhythm of your heart rate variability, and you can start increasing it. So healthy HRV is between 15 and 20. And as you were saying, the bigger the number, the better. But throughout our life, it actually shrinks. And so the greatest thing about heart rate variability is the larger your heart rate variability, the longer you live. So if you do train yourself to regulate your emotions, you're also theoretically lengthening your life, because the bigger your HRV, the longer you're going to live. And so that's really what the technology is about. Now, you don't need the HeartMath technology. They have books, they have videos on it, and in my course I teach it. You don't need to do the technology, but I love their technology. It's really good biofeedback to help you learn it. So I got certified by HeartMath a couple of years ago because I'd used it since 2005 for myself. And it's really the most powerful technique that I know of in the moment, like while you're engaged in something or while you're in a stressful pattern, for you to change it. Like literally within 30 seconds to a minute, you can change your entire physiological state once you learn how to do this process.
Amazing. Well, we're going to take a short commercial break and find out how to do that with Dr. Mark Halpern. Welcome back to Accelerated Health Radio. I'm your host, Sara Banta, the owner of Accelerated Health Products. And today we have Dr. Mark Halpern. Mark, we are talking about HeartMath and heart rate variability. And you mentioned we lose that number goes down as we age. And that's interesting because I've got my son who was wearing his Oura ring for a while, and his heart rate variability was so much higher than mine. And I consider myself in good shape and good health, and I was getting a little competitive. So that was really interesting, and I do pay attention to that number. But what I want to do now is say someone is in the position where they're feeling the anxiety come on, and they want to use these coping mechanisms or tools and change increase their heart rate variability on the spot. What would they do?
Well, the very basic technique, there are different variations of HeartMath, and there's different techniques, but one of the basic ones is literally just when you're in that state to just stop, to take a breath, but breathe in through the heart as if you're visualizing the oxygen going in and out of your heart. But actually, if I back up, the most important aspect of this is learning the proper breathing technique. So I usually have people put a hand on their chest. The only reason it's there is to remind people not to move it. It shouldn't go up and down. It should stay where it is. I put my lower hand on my belly because I want to fill it up like a balloon with my breathing in through my nose. So the breath work should be done in through the nose for about 4 to 5 seconds, out through pursed lips for 4 to 5 seconds. It looks something like this. Gentle in, gentle out. You're really pushing your stomach out so that you're filling it up with a bit of intensity. You're not hyperventilating, but you're filling it up and then you're letting it go. And the idea is that's the basis of the breath work. Then you start to add in visualization, which is you're visualizing the oxygen going in and out through the heart. And what that does is it serves A, to center you, and B, what studies have shown is that actually increases the blood flow in and out of your heart. So the idea is to focus on your heart as you're breathing. And then the third aspect to what's called quick coherence is feeling a regenerative, renewing emotion. So in my course, I talk about starting with an easy emotion. So in other words, it might be easier to feel the emotion of relief rather than tranquility. Tranquility might be a little bit more, you need a bit more practice. You need to really get into the idea of it. But relief or relax or calm, that's a little easier for people. Or some people, it's just visualizing petting their dog, right? I can tell you the first time I ever got into coherence, or at least not the first time ever, but the first time I really felt it and I knew I was there. I had been practicing HeartMath for probably about 7 or 8 years already, and frustrated that I wasn't actually doing it properly. But I remember one day I was sitting on my bed and I was using the technology. And when you're in coherence, it goes to green. So it starts in red, then it goes blue, then it goes green, and it makes a bing when it gets to green. So I'm sitting on the bed, I'm at the highest challenge level, I'm feeling good about myself that I'm getting into this coherent state, but it's not going green. And I'm sitting there going, well, what am I doing wrong? And so now I'm working against myself because now I'm feeling stressed about not getting into coherence, which is the whole opposite of what you're supposed to be doing. So I kind of sat there for a minute. I stopped the technology. I thought to myself, what emotion can I feel right now that's really going to allow me to feel it? Because the key to this whole thing is not just thinking about the emotion, it's actually feeling it. You have to feel it as if it's actually happening. That's when the magic occurs. And so I remember just thinking, and the first thing that came to my mind was my daughter, who's now, she's 17, but at the time she was like 6, 7 years old. I pictured her jumping into my arms and giving me a hug. And in that moment, I felt the hug. I felt her arms around me. I felt the kiss on the cheek. I felt her body against mine. And instantly, I felt this whoosh come over me. And I really didn't need it, but the technology itself did make a bing and it did go to green. But I knew it. I knew I'd entered this coherent state because I was breathing properly. And then I felt this emotion. And so it really showed me at the time, it was sort of this aha moment that said, you can't just fake it. You can't just, oh yeah, I'm going to picture myself on a beach. I'm going to picture myself, on clouds. You have to feel this emotion. But as soon as you do feel that emotion and you're doing the proper breath work, you will start to change your physiological state. And so that really, for me, was the driving force to, I think, get more into HeartMath, because if I didn't have that success, I think I was just going to get frustrated. But it helped me teach it now years later, because when people are getting frustrated, it's because they're not easily accessing an emotional state, and that we have to work on with them.
I love that you use biofeedback, and I have a program on, and people can find it at sarabantahealth.com. It's called the Genius Insight app, and it scans your body for emotions, for traumas, for your minerals and vitamins, for viruses and bacteria, all of that stuff. But it does pick up the mental energies that are going on, and cortisol, and people don't realize what an effect their mental state has on their physical body. I mean, if you're in an anxious state or you're depressed, your digestion's going to be off. You might be constipated. Your thyroid's going to be low. Your metabolism is slow. You're creating cancers and disease in your body because it's going over acidic or all of these other things that are happening. And that's what's so great about what you're teaching, is because as you're able to take back that control over the brain, you're actually healing your body physically as well, in body, mind, and spirit. And that's why I always talk about the three things that they're so intertwined. You mentioned something about process mindset and destination mindset. Can you please tell us what that means?
Well, I think growing up, and even in my 20s and 30s, because my goal was to get rid of anxiety, and it was always this destination. When I get there, I will be happy. And I think most people know the "I'll be happy when" thoughts, right? I'll be happy when I get to school, when I get my first boyfriend, when I graduate, when I get my first car, when I buy my first house, when I get my first job, when I get married. It's always "I'll be happy when." And so it's this destination mindset. When I get there, things will be great after I get there. But a process mindset is literally you're designing a daily process that works for you, that keeps you inspired, that keeps you happy. What are the things that you do in your life on a daily basis? So exercise and diet are great. How about music? How about photography? How about social life? How about the way you communicate? All of the different things in your life that you want to also be using to help you attain this coherent state. And so the final thing that we do in the course is something called a daily dream life schedule. And what it is you design it from the second you wake up to the second you go to bed. You put in everything that is your priority first. So in other words, when do you eat? When do you work? When do you sleep? Those are the majority, like the things that non-negotiables. Then you put in all the other things that you want to do in your life, whether it's social or personal, you put it all in. The last thing that you put in are the chores, the laundry, the groceries, all of this other stuff, because most people do it the opposite way. They fly by the seat of their pants. They only do their chores. They have no time for the stuff that really keeps them inspired and keeps them healthy and keeps them loving life. So the idea is to design the schedule and then to take it one step further and to start identifying the emotions that you want to feel at different times of the day. How do you want to feel when you wake up, when you're at work, when you get home from after dinner? What are the emotional states that you want to be in? Then once you've identified that, how do you attain those? HeartMath is one way of attaining an emotional state, but I'm sure that you've used essential oils in your home for other things, perhaps to calm you down or to wake you up. There's certain music that might put you in different moods. There's certain pictures, there's certain environments, there's certain people. And the idea is if you want to attain a certain emotion and you're conscious about it, you go, okay, well, I could have this picture in my bathroom because then if I look at it every morning, it's going to get me inspired. I can listen to this music on my way to work. When I get home, I can have this, cup of tea waiting for me, or whatever it is that works for you. The idea is that you're going to go through your food, you're going to go through your sight, sound, touch, every sense that you have, and you're going to figure out what works for you on a daily basis. What of these things can elicit emotion? And then you're going to put it in your schedule. How am I going to attain these emotions? Because once you've got this document done, this is your life. Now you just have to live your life process. And if you get off it for a few days, okay, you just get back on your process. If you only live it 60%, 70% of the time, good for you. At least you've got a process that you're sort of following rather than just going by the seat of your pants. So that's really what the course takes you through, is we're learning the HeartMath techniques, but ultimately it's to design this process so that you could be living by a process mindset rather than a destination mindset.
So I commonly ask myself, because I was a type A personality growing up, and I always, was driven to get straight A's and do well and goal oriented. And through my health journey and my family's health journey, which, had to hit rock bottoms and struggle, I realized that life was going to take its turns and I was not going to go from point A to point B like I had mapped out when I was 18 years old. And I learned that I needed to live my daily life just like you're talking about, and ask myself, if I had all the money in the world, would I change what I do during a day? And right now, no. I love doing what I'm doing right now, talking to you. I love helping my clients. I love being a mom to my 3 kids and a wife to my husband. I love exercising. And obviously there are days when you just don't want to do anything. I get it. I'm not saying that, but in balance, it's really nice to have that checklist and make a point of when something good is happening, or you're sitting in a really good space, to sit back and recognize it, really feel the feeling, so that you can go back to it. Just like you're saying, whether it's that hug from your daughter or whatever that means to you, is to be able to sit in those good moments to bring you back into yourself. And I just love the way you're teaching this, because it's doable. It's doable for everybody. Well, Mark, why don't you tell us a little bit more about the difference between the book and your course?
So the book is really an introduction into this concept of coherence. It tells you a little bit about me. It explains the concepts of coherence and what it means. But it doesn't teach you the breathwork techniques. It's the course that teaches the breathwork techniques. And we did our beta test groups last summer, and then we took a few groups through this winter, and it was really great to see people's lives changing. And what we started to realize was it is a ton of material, and we were doing it over a 6-week period. So what we decided to do was actually record the course, so that people could actually have the recorded course and do it on their own time. And then we're offering live sessions where we can practice the breath work, and we can do breakout rooms and engage together as a community, and only do the practical things rather than all the lecture on that we do on the video. And so what it's done is it's given me an opportunity to be able to help people in a different way. Now they can buy it as a recorded version. So that's actually not out yet. It's going to be out in the next month. And then we're going to start adding more lives and things. So the book is a good way to get introduced to all of this, but to teach it and to engage in it and to get the support of the community. Because I really do think, when we started seeing groups doing breakout rooms on Zoom and engaging with each other and learning how to practice emotion and learning how to choose the emotion that they want to practice and why they're choosing it. And it was just really nice to see a community starting to grow. So the Coherence Revolution is sort of, it's going to be a community, but you have a choice whether you want to just buy the book, whether you want to buy the course, whether you want to do the live sessions. And eventually I'm going to be doing one-on-one coaching for people who really want to go through this, the whole system with me one-on-one and just get some private coaching. So I felt like having more options for people so that we could satisfy whatever people wanted would work. But it's really, whether it is the book, whether it is the course, whether it is the lives, or whether it is the one-on-one coaching, it is all about figuring out and being open to doing a deep dive into every aspect of yourself to finally just figure out how you can change your emotional state with the world around you. Because we can all do it. As you said, it's accessible to everybody, but most people don't spend the time to figure it out. And that's really what this is all about.
And what outcomes or changes have you seen in people, and what would people expect?
Well, the greatest thing about getting coherent is it's really about becoming resilient. And when you're more resilient, when your body can adapt better, when you're more adaptable in life, well, that means, as you started talking about, it affects your physical body, right? Less pain. People have neck pain, back pain, headaches. Well, this helps. Sleep problems, people who are stuck in stress, they don't sleep well. So we were getting all kinds of people saying, wow, they can finally sleep. Stress and anxiety is obvious. That's really the basis of this. People who are stressed, depressed, overwhelmed, this helps you change your emotional state. But there's also, HeartMath has different techniques called coherent communication. So really, we're seeing people make breakthroughs with their wives or jobs. I had one guy in his 40s that was able to work out his marriage and save his business simply by using the HeartMath communication technique. So it really affects everybody in different ways. But the one thing it does is it allows you to adapt and become more resilient to whatever your your goal is. So if it's to make more money, well, we talk about how to achieve your career that you want, and we talk about ways to attain it using these methods. We talk about digestion, figuring out doing an elimination diet, and figuring out finally what foods create what moods in your body. And so people who have struggled with their diet will really have a good time with this and get a lot of help out of it, because you'll finally be able to create a meal plan, which I've called an 8-5-3 plan: 8 dinners, 5 lunches, three breakfasts. So this really is a wide-ranging program for resilience in all aspects of your life, and it'll depend upon what your goals are. For me, it started off as anxiety, depression, and really stress. But I have people that took the course, they're not anxious at all, but they couldn't sleep. Other people who really just get a lot of headaches and neck pain. So it will affect everybody differently, but it is about becoming more resilient to the world around you.
I love that it's not just about anxiety, but it's about whatever your goals are, whatever optimal health means to you physically, mentally, or spiritually. And, you know, it's so funny. I've joked with some of my girlfriends about how if you've got marital issues, you need to go to therapy just yourself, because something's in you. Obviously, you can't change another person. You can only control you, right? And some of the issues are within you. Well, Mark, we've got just a minute or two. Is there anything that I haven't asked you that you really want my listeners to know?
Well, I think we covered a lot, and what I'd like to do is give your listeners an opportunity. If you would like the ebook, there is a link that I have set up. It was for the live course, which we don't have another date set yet. The recorded course will be out soon. So I want to offer your listeners 2 things. One, if you go to the link, www.coherencerevolution.com/2022. So that's coherencerevolution.com/2022. If you go there, you can actually download the ebook for free so that you can just start to read it. I'd like you to be able to get the information. For those of you who do have an interest in either doing one-on-one coaching with me or getting the recorded program, you can send me an email at support@coherencerevolution.com. And if you send us an email just letting us know that you're interested in the coaching or the recorded program, then we will get you on the list. And when we do the initial discount at the beginning, we'll of course honor that and get in touch with you. So if you're interested in that, please send me an email or feel free to go get the book and just start enjoying it.
Amazing. Everybody, you know, I promote supplements, dietary change, fitness, exercise, and this piece just fits right in there. And I always talk about the synergy of these different tools. You can't just do supplements. You can't just do diet. You can't just do the exercise. You can't just get the 8 hours of sleep. You have to do everything. You've got to work on your brain and your body all in one. And it's the magic in the synergy where your health catapults you to another level. And that's what I talk about, is increasing your frequency. That's what it means. It means to live at a higher level of frequency where you're more aware, you're more in touch with your higher self, with God, whatever that means to you. And Mark, I'm so excited for having made this connection and introducing you to everybody. And I'm going to be checking it out myself. So thank you for coming on. And thank you everybody else for joining us today. And if I can help you with your health issues, you can contact me directly through the website, acceleratedhealthproducts.com or sarabantahealth.com. They're both connected and intertwined, so you will find me regardless of which one you go to. I'm happy to put together a protocol just for you. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram under Accelerated Health Products, and my YouTube channel, and over 100 channels under Accelerated Health Radio and TV. You can find this episode and all my episodes on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Stitcher, Pandora, or whatever podcast platform you subscribe to. You can join us every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific time and use coupon W4HC20 for 20% off site-wide. As you support my website, Accelerated Health Products, I'm able to bring you this show and the amazing guests. Thanks for joining us here on Accelerated Health Radio, and have a great week.